I think all of us agree now that the world is crying and screaming for us to do something about waste. Because to reach the level of life that we have started to abuse the environment. We're using more and more resources. We are not thinking of the future, and that's why the idea of sustainability came about less than 20 years ago, and we still have a long way to go before achieving something. Traffic is one of the most pollutants, and Professor Imad yesterday illustrated that very well. We are on this earth and we need to look after every part of our living. Now, solid waste is a major problem in all countries, developed or undeveloped. And in Palestine, we have a particular issue because out of our land, we actually have control on a very small area. And if we use many dunums of that for solid waste and we don't recycle it, we are losing even more of our land. And the restrictions, the closures, the access, or problems with access present us with a challenge. And solid waste has been used extensively in research and in manufacturing now to develop products and materials that can be used all over the world, and some or many of these technologies can be utilized here in Palestine. The presentation will summarize some of the research and applications that have been done to these non-conventional materials as a substitute for conventional or virgin materials. Now, in order to process a ton of cement, we produce over a ton of CO2, either from the limestone that we use to release CO2, or from the heating, grinding, transportation, etc. And if we can use materials bound the aggregates and some parts of the solid waste, we can achieve a great deal towards the environment and greener countries. Now, I appreciate that we don't have a major steel industry or coal industries in Palestine, but we do have other industries that produce huge amounts of waste, like the stone cutting or marble cutting industry, like the quarrying, and so on. Now, fly ash has been used with cement for over 30 years now, and it has modified or improved the properties of concrete towards a higher performance concrete because of the lower water demand. And Professor Sihan here gives you the estimated production of coal ash at 600 million tons, with fly ash constituting about 500 million tons at 70 to 80%. The utilization worldwide is just over 50%. In some countries like the UK, it's actually 100%. This is a microscopic picture of fly ash under SEM, scanning electron microscope. And we use fly ash in different uses, in concrete production as substitute of cement, as I mentioned, embankments for stabilization, in grouts, and we have a PhD student now working on using fly ash for the lining of oil wells, because they use huge amounts of cement products to line oil wells because they go very deep. And we're trying to use fly ash and other sustainable materials, greener materials for that. It can be added to solid waste for solidification. Fly ash is also used in manufacturing, cosmetics, toothpaste, floor and ceiling tiles, and a whole range of other areas. The other major materials that are being researched and used worldwide is GGBS, or granulated blast furnace slag, which is a product of the steel industry, and this has shown extensive or excellent properties when combined with other wastes. They use it in highways, on roller compacted and low or lean concrete, where they use very little cement, and with this GGBS used with that, it actually gives excellent results. Steel slag is a similar product. Here is some of the results which show the kind of improvement in strength that one can achieve, but it depends on the water content of the solution. Again, more results. The other major waste they have in Turkey, which is common to Palestine, is marble dust. It's not just an eyesore, it's an environmental hazard, it's a health hazard in every sense, especially where we have these very small areas we have in Palestine, where stone cutting is next door to populations and housing and schools, etc. And much research has been done in Turkey because they have a huge marble industry to actually utilize some of that dust and use it as a replacement aggregate or fines for production of blocks or stabilization of pavements. Recent studies showed that it can be used as aggregates as part of the grading of aggregates. It can also be an excellent material to be used with self-compacting concrete. Self-compacting concrete is not really new, but it's being used more and more because it does not need any vibration. It gives you excellent results in terms of performance, and if marble dust can be added to these, it improves the flowability performance of these materials, and we end up with an excellent self-compacting concrete. Again, some results showing the improvement in strength with the percentage waste added. There is always a minimum. The other common problem they have in Turkey, which we have here, is the waste sand or waste fines produced at quarries. And again, when you think of our country, as small as it is, and you see all the quarries we have and stockpiles, if you think of Turkey, a really huge country with huge population and a huge rate of development. So the stockpiles of waste in Turkey are even higher, and this requires that they solve this, and they're using more and more of this waste for road and pavements upgrade, backfill, as even additive to low strength products like blocks and so on, to form an end product and reduce the stockpiles of this waste. Again, this is showing some of the swelling test of the California bearing ratio and so on, and it is showing that we can achieve reasonable results. We don't have a huge ceramic industry, but Turkey has. And another fine waste they have, which is also environmentally dangerous and can affect health and the environment, is the what we call polysag waste, which is really from cutting ceramic tiles. And even granite. It comes in powder form. It usually has very high levels of water because they use water in the cutting process, and end up with a sludge. It can again be used in road construction, much testing has been done on this material, and initial Proctor compaction test in the lab had shown that at a reasonable moisture content we can have a dense and reasonable product. And here are some of the results of the testing, where you can see the improvement with the water content, varying the water content and percentage in the mix. This is the experimental setup for the expansion test, where you confine the material in a cylinder and you observe the swelling or the contraction over a period of time using transducers. And here it shows the improvement of the CBR ratio or CBI results with different waste at different percentages and improvement with time. At 20%, we can reach a reasonable level of compaction. The other major industry they have, or it's actually everywhere, is recycling paper. And recycling paper ends up with a waste paper sludge, which has excellent bonding properties, and it can actually be used as an alternative to cement or to the materials used for binding. And we have in Palestine some waste recycling industry, and I think if we use these and combine them with some other waste that we have, this is an excellent way of reducing waste and reducing the demand of importing sand and other products across the border from the Israelis. I think I'm near to the end of the slide, but this is an excellent demonstration where you can see two walls built from traditional blocks. One is built with Portland cement blocks like the ones we have here in Palestine, and the other one using waste paper sludge and GGBS, and the one that uses the green products or the waste has zero cement and zero heating. So they were able to produce a block without using any cement. This was demonstrated at the last university I worked at in the UK, at the University of South Wales. Plastics is another material that we can recycle, whether we cut it in pellets or shred it in fibers, and we can use it as a reinforcement in pavements and even in some of our structures. We actually use some recycled foam to make flooring, and the look and the performance of the flooring was no different than wood flooring, except for the fact that the recycled ones were much lighter in weight and they performed much better in terms of strength, durability tests, and so on. Now, municipal waste is a major issue here, and I know there is a lot of projects looking at recycling solid waste or burning it into combusted ash. And again, the ash product is a good binder or a good additive to replace parts of the cement, and we can use these with other waste materials. Scrap tiles can be used as a replacement of aggregates. And here are some of the lists where we can use some of these wastes: subgrade fill on embankments, behind walls, bridge abutments, subgrade insulation, landfills, etc. I will not read all of them. In conclusion, the problems associated with environmental safe and efficient disposal of waste continues to grow because we continue to use more and more resources. Existing landfills are beginning to fill up, and we have restrictions and taxes to reduce our use of these. The cost of disposal will increase, and we need to do something about it. highway construction can be, we can use much of this waste in highway construction at subgrade stabilization, and we should do more and more research to prove the concept and to show that these can produce stable and long-term results. I'll try and go through these because I won't read everything. I think we said everything. This is the final slide where Professor Sihan sends his apologies. And here's a picture of a conference that Professor Sihan and I organized last month in Ankara. It's called Renewable, which looks at sustainability and use of waste, including, believe it or not, use of solid sewage water, raw sewage water, which was used in mixing for making concrete products. And this has been demonstrated at university in the UK. I know it's not very attractive, but it was used. It is hoped that the 2015 conference will be here in Palestine, and you are all welcome to attend it. Thank you very much.
شكرا دكتور عبد الرزاق. يعني احنا شوي متاخرين في الوقت مشان ما نكسرش البرنامج. معطي يمكن مجال اذا في سؤالين او ثلاث خلال 5 دقائق، اذا حد بيحب يستفسر او يناقش الموضوع. تفضل. الميكروفون لو سمحت.